are looking live.
There's something sacred about this stadium and its setting. There's nothing like this venue, in my opinion, in all of sports.
The setting is about as good as anywhere in the country. With the San Gabriel Mountains in the backdrop, it's always picturesque.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Rose Bowl Live on this balmy October Thursday. I am Jeff Michael, formerly of CBS 2 News.
And I'm Chris Erskine of the Los Angeles Times, formerly.
Formerly as well.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about tailgates, right?
We're here to talk about all things tailgate because there is nothing that says fall like having a tailgate. And I know we don't have the ability to tailgate at the Rose Bowl.
No, we don't. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. So we're tailgating wherever we can. It's kind of a state of mind. And I've always thought, Jeff, that tailgating, the holidays sort of start with tailgate season.
I mean,
it really does.
Yeah.
It's like this. Yeah. It's like it becomes very social. You become, you're seeing people. So it's sort of the beginning of the holiday season. So we, you know, this has been a very weird year, but we're glad to see college football starting in November. And so we're going to give you a few tips on how to have a great tailgate.
Yeah, we're going to go over a lot of things for you. The supplies you're going to need, the food, the drinks, the games, the music, a couple of ideas of what to do at home. Because at this point, what we're encouraging you to do is have a tailgate. Have it in your backyard, have it in your front yard, entertain the neighbors, bother the dogs, alarm the children.
Scar the children.
Scar the children.
I'll tell you what, that's what we're doing now. We're just making the best of things. We're doing a lot of things at home that we didn't do before, and there's no reason why, within sort of, you know, being safe, social distancing and everything else, having a lot of hand sanitizer. We should probably have a hand sanitizer cocktail. But, you know, alcohol is a sanitizer, so, you know, we're kind of, you know, sanitizing from within. So.
All right, so exactly. So also, if you're watching this on Facebook Live or if you're watching it on YouTube, there's an area for comments. Go ahead and say anything you like, ask any questions of the famous columnist Chris Erskine of the LA Times.
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz, but okay.
Anything you're thinking.
I am ready.
And at the end of the show, we're going to try to get to those. But the main thing that we want to begin with is the Rose Bowl itself. And why it is such an amazing place to tailgate.
Well, it's, you know, one of the things this year is we've learned to appreciate stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was at a little bookstore last night, and we were talking about the treasure that bookstores are. Well, this is a giant treasure, right? I mean, it is one of the nation's greatest stadiums. So many firsts happen there, and you know, how lucky are we to have that right in our own backyard? And it's the best, according to...
Oh, there's my grandson.
According to... There's Miles. There's Brian Ulf. Oh, my goodness. According to Sports Illustrated, what do they know about sports?
That's true.
But they rank the top 10 stadiums in college football. For just enjoying the experience.
That's right, for enjoying the experience.
So this is setting... just the ambience, everything else. And so here's our list, and we're going to do it the way Letterman used to do it. Remember, he sort of ticked down.
Right.
Number 10, Penn State.
Penn State, all right.
You know, Beaver Stadium. Number 9, Ben Hill Griffin. You know where Ben Hill Griffin Stadium is?
No
It's
idea.
Florida. University of Florida. Okay?
Really? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Number 8 is Tennessee, Neyland Stadium. Number 7 is Washington. Beautiful setting, right? Great Pac-12 setting right there. Number 6 is Clemson. Number 5 is the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Why do they call it the Ohio State, Jeff? I don't know. Actually, it goes back to the 1800s. There was an Ohio governor named Rutherford B. Hayes who would go on to be president. And Rutherford B. Hayes.
Are you?
No, I'm not drunk or anything. This
is
true.
real.
This is real.
See, you can never quite tell with Chris whether
everything I say is real.
Okay.
Rutherford B. Hayes decided in the 1800s that Ohio State University needed to be regarded with extra, I don't know, gravitas, whatever it was. So they passed a law in the Ohio legislature that it was officially the Ohio State University. So that's why you see those obnoxious, those nice kids, when they say where they're from, they always make a big deal. The Ohio State University. So anyway, so that's number 5. Number 4 is LSU. Tiger Stadium is fantastic. Number 3, Notre Dame. Number 2, Michigan, the Big House.
Big House.
And number 1
The granddaddy of
the
them all.
granddaddy of them all, Rose Bowl Stadium, about to celebrate its 100th birthday, just like your daddy, right?
That's right, just like my dad.
Absolutely. Opened in 1922 and going strong. And gosh, we're so lucky to have that. And so, in the spirit of the Rose Bowl, in the spirit of college football, we're carrying on as best we can, and sharing some of the tricks that we learned over there in 5B under the oak trees that we've been doing for a long time.
Right, that's why we're here actually, is because we are, founding members of
the La Cañada Tailgate Society. Believe it or not, there is such a thing.
Yeah.
And a few of us got together and started going to Rose Bowl games, and this is probably 8 years ago. And it sort of blossomed and took off. Now we get 100 people, out for we get a keg, we get the pop-up tents, we get all sorts of stuff, and we get a great spot just outside of the main gate. So anyway, we're really lucky, and I don't say we're experts at it, but we pride ourselves on, we put on a nice party.
And we're going to get in just a minute. We'll get to another list that we don't agree with, but before we, I just lost my train of thought of where we were going to head. Oh, I know what it was. Before that, I just want to ask you, Chris, what is it about tailgating and what we do that makes you write about it so much? Because it ends up in your column a lot.
Well, I'll write about anything, to be honest. But I'll tell you what, there is something about, I don't think anybody dreads going to a tailgate. I mean, not a UCLA tailgate. And I will tell you what, of all the parties, and you think, sometimes you get that feeling like, I don't want to go to a party tonight. I never feel that with a tailgate. It's always sort of that sense of anticipation. A lot of it is the marching bands, the music, the smells from the grill, just that smoky ambiance that is so great. And then there's the beer, The food tends to be fairly simple, and I think you need to keep it kind of simple. We got tri-tip going in the background there.
Yeah, I see the
we do teriyaki tri-tip, and it's easy. It'll feed 30 people. One tri-tip will feed 30 people. You put it on the sliders. I think it's a sense of camaraderie. I think it's kind of almost a brotherhood that you feel like. We almost intentionally forget to bring a corkscrew so we can go over to the next tailgate and see what they're cooking. So we go over to the next tailgate and we borrow the corkscrew and we introduce ourselves. And inevitably they come back and they go, "You got some tonic water you can spare?" And we say, "No. Get the hell out.
Get the hell out.
Get the hell out."
That's not.
But anyway, it's such a great feeling. It really is like nothing else. And I think also for guys of a certain age, it makes us feel young again.
It does.
Right?
It really does. And I have to say, there are people I have met at tailgates in the past 5 years who I now consider friends.
Right.
We now. I try to make use of them whenever I need something.
It's a little bit of fall rush, right? I mean,
exactly.
And every year we kind of add new people, and they're so grateful. Really, people are grateful. I get notes for the next couple of days afterwards saying how happy they are. They hope they get invited back despite all that happened and the crude things they said, whatever. I mean, it's just fun.
Sure.
It's just fun. If you spill something, it does. Nobody's worried about it.
Now here is something that does not make sense to the La Cañada Tailgate Society, and that is another list, a list that we didn't put together, and that is it's about tailgating. And Chris is going to break the news to you, right?
Well, we have another top 10 list of top tailgating sites.
Right,
now,
right.
Sports Illustrated says that the Rose Bowl is the #1 place for college football. Yet on this list by fansided.com, which I'm not really familiar with, they have a list, and we'll do it really quickly. Number 10, Nebraska. This is best tailgate spots,
right,
not places to watch a game. Best tailgate spots. Right. Number 10, Nebraska. Number 9, Iowa. Number 8, Clemson. Number 7, The Ohio State University. Number 6, Oklahoma. Number 5, Washington. This is the first Pac-12 school. LSU. I'll give them LSU. LSU's, they just do it right down there in Cajun country. Tennessee. I hear great things about. This will surprise you. Number 9.
Yeah.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Which is the Gamecocks, right? So
all right.
I made your eyes get big.
Yeah.
Anyway, South Carolina is supposed to be fantastic. And then number 1, and I've heard great things about Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. My cousin was a law professor at Ole Miss, and I'm surprised about that. I guess they didn't take a lot of tradition into account that could probably be corrected.
Maybe,
You know,
yeah,
don't you
maybe,
think?
maybe. But you know, coats and ties. It's a little more formal down there. But I hear it's wonderful. I've never been, so I can't really say that it's not worthy. But I still think the number one place is Brookside Golf Course. Where do you get the golf course? Purdue has a thing where you tailgate on the golf course. A lot of stadiums do.
Right.
There's something about having that great fairway turf and the trees and everything else.
Where
right?
else do you get to tailgate on a golf course?
On a golf course, because there's so many places. I'm not going to name any crosstown rivals. There's a lot of places where you're kind of just on pavement a lot. You know, and like we said, it's hot. It's hot in October. The sun is, you know, a day game is blasting down. So you want to be on the grass. You want to be in the shade. And so, you know, that's why the Rose Bowl in my book is number one.
All right, buddy. Hey, everybody. When we come back from this break, we are going to be talking food. We are going to be talking drinks. We're going to talk a music list that none other than Mr. Erskine put together. We'll see if you agree with that. We'll be right back after this. Chris?
Jeff?
What?
I don't think we have any commercials.
There's no
There's no
commercials.
commercials.
There's no commercials?
No. No, this is just...
Let me talk to the producer. Do we have any commercials? No. She says no commercials.
Oh. In that case...
Well, wait, but if we don't have any commercials, that's...
How are we paying for this?
We're not getting paid, are we?
Oh, they told you I'm getting paid.
You're getting paid.
Actually,
Well,
quite handsome.
You can sure as hell do most of the talking here. All right. All right. Hey, welcome
we're
back,
back.
everybody. We're back. All right. Best way to have a stress-free tailgate is to be prepared. And the first thing you need, if this is not you, you have to find this person. The first thing you need is a good organizer. And for us, that organizer, once again, is the star of the show.
Because
Mr.
I make lists. You know, it's the only thing I can't remember anything anymore. So I make lists, and I start making it a few days ahead of time to make sure we have everything covered. You know, there's a few essentials that you have to have, even if you're doing a backyard tailgate. You don't want to miss. One is the organizer, like you said, Jeff. Shade is really important in Southern California. We don't have to worry about it tonight because it's late enough, but we usually take a pop-up tent. Don't forget the pop-up tents. Yep. And don't be afraid to say, hey, can you bring the pop-up tents? Because that's always heavy and some kind of thing. Tables are really important. We sometimes forget that. A generator is really key if you're doing the TV thing. Really key for your sound system. A couple of extra chairs always helps. Although
especially if you have somebody elderly coming.
Yeah, and if you're sitting around, sometimes the best part of the tailgate is like before it kind of gets all crazy, and you're just sort of sitting around chatting a little bit. Then people show up and you end up standing around, and that's the big group thing. But chairs are really good. A sound system is really, really key. We actually rent one. Mark J. Miller, who is the social chairman of the La Cañada Tailgate Society, and was crowned Miss La Cañada Tailgate Society in one of the early years. I don't know if you remember that.
I did not remember
Yeah,
that.
he was.
We're going to get to
games
a little later.
He just looked beautiful. And then, you know, and a TV and an antenna. If you're going to just do the broadcast thing, I mean, there's various things. This is always for people who don't want to hassle with TV. I mean, there's always like, how am I going to get my cable TV? How am I going to get ESPN? Well, sometimes you subscribe. Dish has a program where you can do that. But an antenna usually works because the big games are on network television, and so you bring an antenna, you hook up your TV, you hook it to your Honda charger, which tends to be a little bit quieter, and you're off to the races. So those are kind of the key things. Ice is so key.
If
you can't have enough ice.
Right.
It's so good.
If you're a guest of a tailgate and you don't know what to bring a bag of ice. Yeah. It'll always be appreciated.
Everybody will, because it melts the second it gets there.
Hey, we have a bunch of questions. I'm just going to throw these in as we go along. Okay. But here's one question from Facebook. Chris, what is the best color cup to use for beer? And what's the best color to use for hard alcohol drinks? What color cup should Chardonnay moms use?
I like that. Well, I think we got some back here. The red Solo cup is such an iconic part of tailgating. They wrote a song about it. Toby Keith wrote a great song, Red Solo Cup. I fill you up. Let's have a party. Like that, okay? He does it even better. And so red Solo cups you kind of have that. Now for a Bruin game, The blue solo.
The
cup
blue
is kinda
solo
nice.
cup,
We do
yeah.
that a lot. We do that a lot. What was the other question? For a mixed drink, I still kind of like a glass. I kind of like a glass.
The clear
A clear
plastic.
plastic glass is kind of nice. And again, ice is really important. For the Chardonnay moms, they will drink Chardonnay out of a cowboy boot. Okay, I mean, I find
Right.
that they will find a hubcap, anything that's available that will hold Chardonnay. It doesn't really matter. But now you can get these wine glasses, the plastic wine glasses,
Right.
and those are kind of nice. It's kind of a nice touch. It's not a lot of hassle, and you don't have to worry about breakage and anything else. So when you go to the party store, look for those. And the Chardonnay moms, we make fun of the Chardonnay moms, but without a lot of Chardonnay moms, you really can't have a great tailgate.
No, all you have is a bunch of guys. And
We didn't really list that. Put that on our list, did we?
no, we didn't.
Have somebody bring some Chardonnay moms.
Since we're talking about drinking, or it doesn't always have to be alcoholic, by the way.
Yes.
Why don't you check the tri-tip? And
Okay.
I'm going to introduce you to our signature cocktail for tonight. All right.
Sounds like a plan.
You go this way. I'll go this way.
All right.
All right, everybody, this is what we're calling Kentucky lemonade. And the reason we're doing this is because our key ingredient is bourbon, and because the reason we're using bourbon is because it is Four Roses bourbon, which is the signature bourbon of the Rose Bowl. This is really easy to make. We're going to put the list up of the ingredients so you understand what's going on there. But basically, it's equal parts sugar and water. You put that on the stove, you get that dissolved. You throw in a handful of fresh mint leaves. Really, that's very important. You squeeze about, let's say, 6 lemons. This is to make about 8 cocktails. You squeeze about 6 lemons. You then pour in the lemon juice, fresh lemon juice. You got your mint in there, and you just let it cool in the pot for a while. And while it cools, you get your glasses ready. And what you do then is you take your mixture and you pour it through a strainer. So it gets rid of the leaves and the seeds, and I am, by the way, talking about lemons here. Okay. And then you've got your mixture. Some people put the bourbon in ahead of time. You can do that if you like. I've done that already. And then you just go ahead and you take your mixture. Now I'm going to put in 2 of these, or about 1.5. 1.5 shots on each of these. Put those in the glass like that. Boom, like that. Then we have our ginger ale. I actually like ginger beer better. I couldn't find that at the store, but Canada Dry has come out with a bold flavored ginger ale. So then you go ahead and you just top that off with your ginger ale like that. Put that in there like that.
Look at you.
Look at me. And then you take some of your leftover mint.
This is like watching Beethoven compose a symphony. I gotta say, this is a masterwork here.
I have got to tell you, I have never done a cocktail demonstration on TV because in broadcast television, well, we just can't drink, can we?
Yeah.
All right. And Chris, here is your Kentucky lemonade.
There we go. There we
come
go.
around
Let's do
here.
it. Let's do a toast.
Come back here. Oh,
We got a gong. Don't ask me why. We just do. So, you want to make a toast?
here is a toast to all of you, to your future tailgate, to UCLA, and most of all, to the stadium we love, the Rose Bowl.
Cheers.
Clink, clink,
Clink.
clink.
There we go.
All right.
And to Sierra Kemp and Ryan Satterfield who made this happen
Yes.
behind the scenes.
Yes,
This
Ryan
is-
and Sierra.
We're kind of making this up as we go along. We had a little rehearsal the other day, but we're trying different. We have 2 different camera angles, which is pretty sophisticated for Skype, and so anyway, we have a little ring light here, and
A very little one, yeah.
and Jeff and I are the crew, and craft services and everything. So it's been really fun.
Oh, here, let me go and just check my text messages
Oh, okay.
one more time,
All right.
and I'll give you another question, Chris. You
Okay.
ready? Okay. This is from Facebook. If you can't make it to the tailgate for the full day, what are your top places in Pasadena to grab a bite to eat on the way to the game?
Wow. I would say, well, I love Lucky Boy. I got to say that Lucky Boy has been one of my. The 35er is great.
35er is in Old Town.
In Old Town.
One of the original establishments.
Most of them are right in Old Town. I would say those would be my go-to places. Old Town is kind of filled with places like Cheesecake Factory, which we love too because the portions are bigger than we are. But I like sort of the hometown kind of places like that.
I would say, especially after the game, make a reservation at Union. One of our Tailgate Society attendees is
Right.
our owner of Union. And also right next to Union is the Blind Donkey. I'm a big fan of the
Blind Donkey makes a great drink. Yeah,
Good drink.
Yeah,
If
right.
you just want if you want a whiskey or something, I think
that's
that's
right in Old Town too, on Union Street.
Yeah,
Right.
on Union Street.
Yeah.
Good play. Also, Pasadena is getting on the map. We now have Guisados Tacos. I would suggest going there. And we also just opened a Shake Shack. We didn't. Shake
Yeah.
Shack did.
But we're going anyway.
We're going to go anyway. All right, so that's another question for you.
Okay.
Now
All
we
right.
talk games. Now games, Chris. That's
We forgot our medals, Jeff.
yes. We have
Jeff's so humble. He's known for his humility, and he is the perennial champion of the quarter drop game. We're not going
Which
to go
we're-
into the details.
we're not allowed to by all
because
internet
it's-
protocol.
Yeah, it's kind of
acts of decency.
Yeah, we can't really do that. We ran that by the censors, and they said no way can you talk about that. But anyway, we do a quarter drop game, and if you email me at Chris Erskine LA at Gmail, I'll give you details. But anyway, Jeff is the champion. He wins every year. It's very competitive. We have heats.
It is.
Cornhole's great.
Got our cornhole bags right here.
We got a special locking out of tailgate cornhole gear and everything else, and we do that. That's really fun. I think it's really, I goof around with a football because it's really not a tailgate without a football.
Right. Right.
So I always bring this, and we get it stuck in the trees almost every time. And I remember one year we were it got stuck in the trees, and somebody grabbed a rake from the sand trap, and they're heaving it like a spear up into the oak tree. And along comes Daryl Dunn, the head guru of the Rose Bowl, the president of the whole thing, right? He just happens to come by. He said, "Chris, I just want to see how you guys are doing." And there's guys chucking this spear and this thing. I said, "Oh God, Daryl, I'm so sorry." And he said, "No, that's okay, because we have a big soccer game coming up soon, and I just made a note that we have to hide the sand trap rakes because you won't be the only people using them as spears." So anyway, we love a football, a frisbee, all that kind of stuff, because that, again, the nice thing about the Rose Bowl setting is there's so much space, and the kids, and the other thing, we didn't talk about this. What I like about a tailgate is sort of the age range.
Yeah.
I don't think if you have a party in your house that you're going to get everybody from, young kids to a lot of college kids to, mature gentlemen like you and me. I think that the age range, the diversity in the age is really great. And people just seem to, we have a lot of 20-somethings at our tailgates, which always makes me feel good because, then it must be fun. The playlist must be somewhat respectable. Mark J. Miller always puts that together and always does a great job on that. So I love that how young our parties can get.
And I love that I can bring my dad, who's 99, and he gets to enjoy.
To Mike Michael, who's about to turn 100 and comes to the tailgate and samples every food, every beverage.
Cheers, Dad.
Every beverage. He's such a good sport. He looks better than you do. He looks way better than me.
True.
He is just an inspiration to all of us, and he really enjoys it. So as Mike Michael turns 100, the Rose Bowl is about to turn 100. We have a lot to celebrate.
I think we do. Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, so games are an important thing. I think also and Chris's his idea is stay in your backyard. Because of social distancing, you don't want to draw the neighbors over, and you do have to be responsible.
Right.
My idea is to actually set the tailgate up in your best buddy's front yard, and don't tell them in advance. And that way, you can just, it actually becomes part of the game.
Surprise.
Surprise. Hey, Chris, can we pull your TV out front? So that's one idea. Here's a question that says, Chris, do you have to live in La Cañada to enjoy and join the Tailgate Society, or can Altadena residents come as well?
Well, there will be a vote on that. It goes before the Senate. Generally, we haven't
just come to the thing.
We basically haven't turned anybody away. In fact, in the early days, we begged. If you see these group shots, you can see we begged people to come to the tailgate parties, and we really did. And we give them free stuff. And I love the picture of the costume. That's from last year's Rose Bowl game. Anyway. No, you can come. We have people from the west side. Virgil comes over from the west side. We have Cub fans. We even let Giants fans in sometimes. 49ers fans, we let them in. That's kind of the bottom of the barrel that we really won't go much lower than 49er fans. I guess he's a 49er fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's all everybody's welcome. We do encourage people to sort of bring stuff if they don't mind, whether it's a bag of ice or a bottle of wine, and because we are feeding a lot of people, and so,
Yeah, and I think we actually have been fortunate enough to have people come who own restaurants, and they'll pitch in. That's really nice. If you know somebody who has a little spot, that helps. We also, we actually have couple of West Siders come over.
Yeah.
And they.
Well, it's a West Side school. I mean, so we do have a nice representation from the West Side, and they bring Bay Cities sandwiches.
Bay Cities,
the Godmother from Bay Cities.
Yeah.
And you show up with a bag of Godmothers, and you basically, you're the king of the tailgate.
Continue to reiterate that we're talking about sandwiches. That's right. Don't show up with a bag of the other things. Hey, we are at the half-hour mark. If you have any questions, or if you have any thoughts, or you'd like to add to the topic of the night here on Rose Bowl Live, either on YouTube or on Facebook, then leave them on the comments section. Our stellar producer, Sierra Kemp, will forward them to me on my little text messaging list here.
Lucky Baldwin's is another place I go to, by the way.
Lucky Baldwin's is a good, that's a great spot.
It's a great spot in Old Town. To answer the earlier question, my brain just actually changed gears. And
that's right on the alley in Fair Oaks.
I have a question. A little Rose Bowl trivia. The Rose Bowl was designed after. I mean, it's 100 years old, right?
Right.
But it was modeled after a famous East Coast stadium. I'll give you a multiple choice.
Okay. All right.
Was it Harvard Stadium?
Okay.
Was it Yankee Stadium?
Okay.
Seems dubious. Was it the Yale Bowl?
Oh, wow. So 2 Ivy Leagues. And
it was basically, if you look at this particular stadium, you will go, yeah, that looks just like the answer is
Yale. I'm going to say Yale.
Yale Bowl.
Is it?
The Yale Bowl. Yep, absolutely. It's a bigger version of the Yale Bowl, but it's but that was it. And okay, we'll follow that up.
Okay.
With the architect of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Back, we said they built it in 1922. It was originally, the game started in 1902. About 3 miles away, and it became over in an area near Caltech, and the games got so popular that they couldn't handle the crowds. So that's why they built the Rose Bowl. They hired a famous architect to build the Rose Bowl. Here's multiple choice.
Okay.
Myron Hunt, number 1. Number 2, Lamar Hunt. Number 3, Mark J. Miller. Because he's old enough.
He is pretty old. He's
so the architect for the Rose Bowl.
So it's one of the Hunts, huh?
It's one of the Hunts. It's either Myron or Lamar.
I would just take a stab and say Myron because
you got it. You're 2 for 2. You're 2 for 2. Yeah, there you go. So the rich history of the bowl is great. There's been how many Super Bowls have been held at
5, I believe.
5 is right.
Have you been to any of them?
I've been to a Super Bowl in Miami, but I've not been to a Rose Bowl Super Bowl, which is I can't afford it. I'm not
I was
rich
a guest.
like you are.
I was a guest, and you would know it was the Dallas game So it would have been like 1990 what, 2 or 93. Sierra,
Yeah.
maybe you can chime in and help me here.
Joe would know that.
It was when Michael Jackson performed the halftime show.
Oh yeah.
And it was when, you know who did the flyover?
Nuh-uh.
Who I may be getting my Super Bowls confused. 1993, says my producer. Now, Sierra, would you look up for me, because my brain's just not working. When General Chuck Yeager did the flyover for
Yes.
the national anthem, I don't think it was the same Super Bowl, but Chuck Yeager flew the Glamorous Glenn. He named all of his aircraft the same name, Glamorous Glenn, after his wife. And he flew the Glamorous Glenn over the Rose Bowl. I interviewed him. This is way back when I was working at ABC 7.
Wow.
And do you know, and Chris would agree with
I
me
wasn't
on this.
born then.
He was just a young cub reporter. Used to carry him around in my pouch. It was so cute. They call it
Is that a pouch? Is
It was
that
a
what that
snuggly, I think, is
It
what
was
I
so
used to do.
snuggly.
So anyway, but Chris would agree with me. As journalists, you don't cross the line and ask someone for something, your interview subject. Only time in my life I have ever asked someone for an autograph.
Oh.
I brought my bomber jacket with me, and I said, General Yeager, would you autograph the lining?
Oh.
No, not my. No,
Okay.
the lining of my bomber jacket. And he
That's really cool.
and he did.
That is really cool.
And so he is. That's the only autograph I have, and it's the only one.
That was 93 was the Michael Jackson Super Bowl, and that really changed. Talk about sort of milestone moments. It really changed the halftime of Super Bowls. I mean, the very first Super Bowl was Al Hirt and the Grambling Marching Band. I mean, it was kind of,
Really?
yeah, it was kind of folksy and mainstream, and then they became a little edgier when Michael started moonwalking, and he did. I think the halftime show lasted about 2.5 hours. It was
very interesting. They used
crazy.
Doubles of Michael. No, they did of Michael Jackson, because he popped up at all the different places throughout the Rose Bowl.
I forgot that.
Yeah, that's why it was such a big deal. Don't want to give MJ any more airtime here on Rose Bowl Live for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
Right.
All right, so we've done the drinks, we've done the games, and now it is
What are
time
we going to do now, Jeff?
to
We've done it
talk
all.
about Chris Erskine's music list. I'm not sure how a couple of these songs got on there, but I'm gonna let Chris defend his music list.
Okay, well, if it seems a little too hip for me, it's because I asked
That wasn't
my
where I
nieces-
was going.
My
Okay.
niece Melissa weighed in with a couple. She just got out of the University of Michigan, and so she weighed in with a couple of stuff because we didn't want to just be a dad's playlist because that's what we do. So we tried to mix it up. Mark J. Miller, who is the architect of the Rose Bowl, he actually does the playlist. He actually does the playlist. He does a really good job, but he does it. Sometimes he's criticized for too much Tom Jones. Can you have too much Tom Jones? I'd say yes.
I'd say
you
yes.
can.
Yeah, you
Because
can.
he plays Delilah like over and over and over again.
And I keep turning it down, and I like my rock and roll loud. But
Well,
boy,
he just doesn't have hearing in the one ear.
he
you
doesn't
know?
know. I know.
And so, anyway, the music is so critical to any party, but I think probably a tailgate more than anything else. And so here's my list, and this is not to be argued over. It's not to be disputed because it is just my list. Number 10, Viva La Vida, Coldplay.
I like that.
Right, that's a great song. Number 9, and I think I just threw this in. I'm not sure it would have made it, but for Eddie's death, the Jump by Van Halen.
Love it.
He grew up a mile or two from the Rose Bowl, and so we got to have Van Halen in there. Timber by Keisha was my niece's thing, which is I know my son Jack would like that.
Mhm.
Born in the USA.
I think
It's
that's
kind
a
of
good one.
I think
Yeah,
that's a good one. And these are songs that just sort of get the blood flowing. We're not doing too many ballads here. It's kind of Wake Me Up from Avicii.
Oh, love that song. Yeah.
That's also my niece.
Love that.
So I think that's a great song. Start Me Up by the Stones. I mean, there's about 20 Stones songs that you could substitute. Start Me Up is great. It just kind of gets people going. And then we change it up a little bit. With Fly Me to the Moon by Sinatra.
Now that's the one I didn't get.
That
sounds like that came from you.
coolest song. No, I will tell you what. When you play "Fly Me to the Moon," the 20-somethings will go, "Oh, this is great." Or if you played "Strangers in the Night," they will go, "Oh, this is great." No, they were so cool.
All right, hold on for just a minute. Second reference you've made about 20-year-olds. If you make a third, you're out of here. Okay? No. I just
men and
don't
women
do the old creepy old man thing. Okay? That's second reference.
Okay, number 3.
Number 3.
"Come With Me Now," the Congos. Whoa, come with me now, like that.
Oh boy, that's okay. All right.
Number 2, another change up, because I really, this is kind of eclectic, as you said.
Yeah.
"America" by Ray Charles. The Ray Charles version of "America" is over the moon great, okay? It is fantastic. You get a little patriotism in there. You get a little soul. It's just fantastic. And number 1, I was singing it before. I'm not going to sing it again. "Red Solo Cup"
Red Solo Cup
by Toby Keith. So I think that's a respectable list. You may have your list. Also, if you have you want to send in your comment on the best song that I overlooked, we'd welcome that. I mean, my niece was saying, White Christmas? Or
No.
have yourself a, no, the Mariah Carey version. What is the Christmas song? Anyway, Mariah Carey does that Christmas song. She goes, like, people go nuts over the Mariah Carey Christmas song. "All I Want for Christmas."
All I want for is you.
All I Want for Christmas is you. The Mariah Carey version of that. She goes, at tailgates, people go nuts for that. At Michigan.
Huh.
They've had a few cocktails in Ann Arbor,
Good point.
You know.
Well, you also have to take into consideration, like we talked about earlier, the age range. You're going to have parents coming with kids, so the Toby Keith song, "Red Solo Cup," it does have a couple of anatomical references in there. Probably will get past them, but I'd go pretty clean on your playlist if you can.
Oh, so you're censoring me now. So are you taking off "Red Solo Cup"?
No. I think,
Solo Cup?
like I said, I think that's okay.
I think it's all right.
I think it's all right.
I can't remember what you're talking about.
Hey,
Yes.
let me just take a break in our lineup here and just
Are we going
say-
to another commercial?
No.
Okay. Hey, Sierra, did you like it when we went to the commercial?
We actually did that for the benefit of Sierra and Ryan because we didn't tell them that.
I say I want to hear what Sierra says in your ear when you cut to commercial.
She didn't say anything.
Oh.
And Ryan was just cool about it. Our director, he just put up a full screen
I know.
picture. Like,
I know.
okay, we'll
They're
pretend
like
this is a break.
I'm the only amateur in this operation.
No, but here's the thing. Look, we're in what, month 8 of the COVID-19 pandemic, and one of the reasons we're doing this show because we all have to kind of reach out and try to hold on to something that makes us feel like it's normal, that makes us feel that we actually, can predict something. So that's one of the reasons that we're talking about having a tailgate, bringing some normality back to your life. But also I bring it up because Chris Erskine, who finest writer I know, he's one of 2 who I know.
I'm in the top 2 of the writers.
Has just released a book.
Oh, well, thank you for mentioning.
Yeah, and tell us about the book.
It's called Catcher in the Rye. It's about a young man coming of age. It's about myself, really. A lot of people credit Salinger for it. I was the one who wrote it. But a better book than Catcher in the Rye is Lavender in Your Lemonade, which is, people are always putting stuff in their drinks. And so in the middle of the early days of the pandemic, I was writing every day. I was just posting stuff every day. And people were locked, we were on lockdown. It was troubling times and people weren't sleeping well, and I certainly wasn't sleeping well. I'd get up early and I'd write these posts. Anyway, we compiled them into a book. It's kind of a series of lifelines about COVID and how we're dealing with it. We shared some recipes, some drink recipes, some food recipes, and some jokes. And again, we're sort of relying on each other to get through, which is sort of what we do with tailgates. I mean, we're social creatures, and you can get in these habits of sort of getting stuck in your house, and like always.
Oh, see the cop. I'm sorry, the cop.
That's the tailgate cop. If you're wondering who that is,
We have no
Reno
idea.
911.
That's
or
with
something.
Mark J. Miller, and he's
Yeah,
actually
he's
being,
getting written up. I think it was his playlist.
he is getting written up.
Yeah,
Yes.
that guy just happened along. My niece Amy was there for the tailgate, and she got a ticket, but she's getting tickets a lot of the time. Anyway, that guy just showed up, and he was a little raunchy, even by our tailgate standards. But it was pretty funny. It was pretty. I don't have no idea who he was or whatever, but there
Okay,
he is.
I just said, there he is.
The banana. Yeah, you had to bring out the banana, huh? So anyway, it's usually pretty PG or G-rated. That's
His name is actually Lieutenant Frank. No, it is. I've just been
It
told.
is?
His
Really?
name is Lieutenant Frank. That's not his.
He's a real Pasadena cop.
At least that's the.
Amy, pay your ticket for God's sakes.
He is a UCLA fan. He's on Facebook,
Oh.
and he was a really nice guy, and stayed in character the whole time, which I really appreciated.
Yeah. And he had a good stash. You don't see too many of those anymore. And so anyway, it was really fun.
Close up of Chris Erskine, please.
It was really no, and so it was really fun.
But back to your book, Lavender in Your Lemonade. Did you give our producer a cover shot of it so we can?
No,
promote it?
I did not do that.
Smart move on your part.
I
That
don't
was
think.
good.
I'm
That's
sorry,
good.
Sierra, but anyway, that's like very good marketing on my part. But if you go to my website, if you permit me to mention that, ChrisErskineLA.com. No periods in any of that. ChrisErskineLA.com. You can get. I now post twice a week. I do columns twice a week. I do newsletters. There's a happy hour hiking club that we keep in touch with. We have the Gin and Tonic Society of Greater Los Angeles that you can get. You can sign up for, and you can sign up for a monthly newsletter. So, and you can also get links to the book and other stuff. So, anyway, ChrisErskineLA.com is the place to go.
That's. Can you? Is there anything that comes to mind that you can pull from the book? A thought, a story, anything that you like, that you go, you know what, I really think I nailed it on that.
Well, I never feel like, writers always want another shot at it. There was stuff like, I think we kind of all, it was weird. Your dad's still around, so you're not an orphan yet. But I think a lot of us, I felt a little bit like I wrote a little bit about my mom and dad. Yeah. Because, they had been through the Depression. They were really young during the Depression, but they had been through the Depression. And I kind of needed the reassuring, I needed a parent to say, you know what, we've been through some crud before, we'll get through it. And suddenly I was the parent having to say that, and I wasn't so sure. There were times when I wasn't sure how we were going to get through it, or how bad it was going to get, or if there was going to be a run on the grocery stores, which there kind of was. We hadn't seen anything like it. So I did a tribute to my parents, and I talked a little bit about how much we love our parents, and especially in a crisis like that. And they're with us anyway, even if they're not with us physically, they're still with us. All those things they taught us about being frugal and saving for a rainy day and all those kinds of stuff. It's like you hear your parents' voices your whole life. So there was a little piece of that.
It's amazing, and for all of you who know Chris Erskine and follow his column, follow him on Chris Erskine LA. What's your website?
ChrisErskineLA.com.
ChrisErskineLA.com. All that he's been through, and yet the happiest guy I know. I gotta give it to you.
Well, you make a good drink, Jeff. I will say that.
I do.
That doesn't hurt. Hurt.
We're coming up on 6:15. We have 15 more minutes here at Rose Bowl Live.
I hope the light holds.
I think I know we have.
It's
funny. We have less light today than we did.
I know.
Last night.
Well, it's a little murky in the west today in LA, and so we're not getting as much sunshine as we did the other day, and so it's getting dark fast. But it looks like the light's holding out. And thank goodness you brought your ring light. I'm going to have to check the tri-tip.
Yeah, go check the tri-tip.
Okay.
I have a question that has come in.
Okay.
Who from the La Cañada Tailgate Society is tasked with picking up beer bottle caps so they're not on the soccer field for AYSO games the next day? Well, Chris can handle the trash part of this, but I'm going to handle the location part of this. The tailgating that we all love to do is actually in Lot 5B, which is just west of the Rose Bowl Stadium. right kind of next to the where the bridge is that goes over into.
Those bottle caps are not ours.
Yeah,
but I
so
know
those bottle caps are not ours.
I know what the questioner is getting at, because there is a big tailgate area on the south side of the stadium, where the neon sign is,
right,
where they do play. AYSL Region 13 plays games,
right.
And I've gone out there, and the kids are, there's bottle caps everywhere, and sometimes broken glass. So, when you get back there, pick up your stuff. I mean, because kids are gonna be falling down on your broken beer bottles. The same thing goes over near Jackie Robinson Stadium, over toward the Aquatic Center. There's some tailgate areas over there, and I've seen burning coals and all sorts of stuff. So, have your fun, but think about it, because it really is such a great location. But other people use it, and they use it the next day, and so there's some safety elements right there.
Sierra, I just sent you a note just asking you to clarify something, and then we'll move on to that.
Okay.
How's the tri-tip?
The tri-tip is great. I actually turned the fire off. Here's what I do with a tri-tip, and I can't say enough how great this is for parties. The tri-tip. Okay. I mean, it's a California cut. You don't see it in other parts of the country. I pre-cook it. You see there we usually use 3 or 4. We'll serve about 70 people. Because we cut it thin, and we put it on slider rolls, the Hawaiian rolls, and it's so good with the grilled peppers, a little dash of horseradish, and it is so good. And what I'll do is usually I will marinate it overnight in a Ziploc with some teriyaki.
Okay, all right.
So basically, it doesn't matter the brand, just some teriyaki overnight. Flip the bag if you can before you go to bed. It comes out so great. It comes out so great. One of the things to do on a tri-tip is, sometimes it comes with a fat cap. They call it the cap of that whole thing.
You keep that on, don't you?
No, not. I don't. I used to, but then I would get flare-ups really bad because there was so much thing, and then it would cook too fast. So I carved that back a little bit, or you can have your butcher do that. Is I carved that back so there's just a little bit of that left, maybe a eighth of an inch, a quarter of an inch left. And it's not like a half inch, because sometimes it comes with a half inch, and you should, first of all, you shouldn't be paying for that, but anyway, and start it with the cap side up, because then it will sort of marinate. It will sort of marinate as it cooks. And anyway, so I turned mine out. It took about 45 minutes for a 4-pounder.
How much did you recook it?
45 minutes.
No, I mean.
We're just doing one. We're just doing one for now because we're just feeding you and me and my son. But but yeah, we're doing the whole thing. We got the peppers. We got we marinated it, and it looks great. It looks great, but it was really good. When I checked it the first time, it was cranking. Okay, the peppers were black. The tri-tip was getting there, and that's okay. It can take a good char on that.
Yeah,
what you want. Anyway, so I just turned it off. I think we're good to go.
All right. How much time do you need to serve us? I just want to back time.
Just a couple of minutes, maybe at 6:25. We'll carve it. We'll carve it and see how the thing goes.
That sounds good.
All right.
That sounds great. We want to let you know that even though UCLA is playing, and we'll bring up their schedule just toward the end of the show, we asked our producer, can you really not just go and tailgate around the Rose Bowl? And unfortunately, the Rose Bowl says, no, you really can't. You're not allowed to do that.
It's not so much that I think the Rose Bowl would like to do that, would like to accommodate us. I think it's the health people, and they're erring on the side of caution, as they should. But
sure.
So yeah, if you think you're going to be able to sort of just go set up your TV in the shadow of the Rose Bowl and watch the games, as of now, no. So I don't want to mess up your plans, and I don't want you to make plans and then have them messed up when the Pasadena police come along and say, sorry pal, you can't be here, and the tri-tip's almost done, and all that stuff.
And it would be nice if we could move into the next tier, if LA County could, but that's not happening yet. And I don't even think if we moved into the red tier, I don't even think the tailgates would still fly.
No, it's hard to say. It seems like you could sort of distance them in ways, but we're erring on the side of caution, and I think it helps when you do that. I know there's all sorts of debate over that. Just be glad we have a college football season. Because a few months ago, we weren't sure there was going to be football of any kind. I always sort of thought that there would be the NFL because the NFL, there's so much money at stake. There's
Oh,
so much money at stake
absolutely.
in everything. But I was really worried about college football because I like it so much. There's just something different, and I enjoy the NFL. I enjoy a Rams game, but there's something different, and a lot of it is just the music. A lot of it is the marching band. One of the great moments in La Cañada Tailgate Society history, and there have been so many. I think it was a Rose Bowl. I think Iowa was playing Stanford, and McCaffrey ran for 2,000 yards. It was one of those. It was that game. Anyway, the University of Iowa band marched right through our tailgate, basically. and Mark J. Miller, the architect of the Rose Bowl, he led the band. He was and there's just something about a giant marching band that is great. And then there's the music. It's a different crowd. A college football game is just a different crowd. It's a little more mellow. And anyway, I love it. So again, as with so many things, restaurants are out on the patios, right, or in the courtyards, but they're open, right? Remember when they weren't open? Now we have college football. We can't go, but we can see it on TV. So, focus on the good, as our buddy
Don Reimer would say.
Yep.
That's right. You had a question. You were going to bring something.
Oh, I was going to say the very first Rose Bowl. Here's another trivia question. The very first Rose Bowl the outcome was 49-0. The participants were Michigan and Stanford.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do you remember who won that, Jeff? You were there?
I was not there, but I'm going to hope that it was Stanford.
It was not Stanford. And what makes it really memorable is that Stanford quit in the third quarter of the game. It was such a blowout. They were getting beat up. This is the Michigan era when they had just unbelievable teams. This is 1902, and Michigan won 49-0, and Stanford quit in the third quarter. And that was the very first Rose Bowl.
Oh my gosh!
Did you know that the very first televised game in color, college game in color, was from the Rose Bowl?
Really?
Yeah, and that was 1962.
62. Did you know that Chris? Okay, I'm going to get this wrong. Was it your dad or was it your uncle?
My dad. Probably my dad.
What was the story about instant replay?
Oh, Tony Verna. Tony Verna, it was a college game. Instant replay was invented during a college game. It was Army-Navy.
Army-Navy, right.
Army-Navy game in 1963, the year after the first color game. They took a news tape machine from New York to Philadelphia, and they recorded a play. And Tony Verna was the director, and he said, we're going to replay it now. And Lindsey Nelson was the announcer. He says, oh, you can't do that. And the executives told him, Tony, if you ever do that, you're fired instantly.
Is that right?
And he did it anyway. There was a touchdown play. He says, we're going to show you that play again. And Lindsey Nelson goes crazy. He goes, how are we going to do this? How are they going to know that it's not live? Because there were no replays before then. And so he says, well, Lindsey, you're going to tell him. He's going to tell him that what you're seeing is not a live shot. And Lindsey, if you saw the tape, this is not a live shot. This is the replay of the touchdown a minute ago. And we're showing it to you again. This is the first time we've ever tried to do this. Sure enough, the phone rang in the production truck. Tony Verna, you're fired. and they didn't say it even that nice. He was, and within 2 weeks, every CBS game that they televised had replay machines. It was that much of a hit. It was game changing in television production, and I love all those milestones.
All right, Chris, before I send you to get the tri-tip, here is a
sir.
question from Facebook. If there was only one porta potty available and you both had to go, Jeff and Chris, who would win a 50-yard sprint to the porta potty? Well, let me just say.
That's a great question.
It is a great question.
I just want to say.
I would win the sprint.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking? I want some of that.
I would say I would win the sprint because this is a serious tailgater who wears Depends when he goes to a tailgate.
Sometimes two layers.
So therefore, Chris would say, Jeff, you go ahead and run because I already did.
And you know what? Because I'm a gentleman, I'm a classy guy from the Midwest, I would let you have the ladies first, I would probably say, and then I would let you have the porta potty. And,
He would.
And
He is a
because
gentleman.
my bladder's amazing. So anyway, should we take the tri-tip off?
Yeah, look, we're going to take the tri-tip off. I'm going to clear a spot. I'll use our camera number 2,
Okay.
otherwise known as my iPad.
Okay.
And you get started, and we'll see how this looks, okay? And everybody, Sierra, you just keep me abreast of the time because we don't want to interrupt anybody's evening schedule here. All right. You're going to have to take this little thing like this, the hole like this. Try not to put my finger over anything.
It's so dark, you can't even see it.
Yeah, it's dark over here.
Yeah. I'll bring it over here in the light.
That's all right. I
Can
can
you see
see
that?
it. Yeah. Got it.
It's basically stuck all the sugar in it. There we go. There's our tri-tip. Like I said, it's kind of a briquette by the time you're done.
Yep.
And then we're going to take it over here, right there in its glory. And then I'm going to show you, let's see where we're going to get some peppers here.
You know, I never, as old as I am, you would think I would be a better carver. I know you carve against the grain,
Right.
but I never can remember
Well,
how to find the grain.
It's a good time to get your knife sharpened this time of year because you're about to, do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Remember, our microphone is way over there, Chris.
Yeah, so I hope you can hear me. So we're going to go against the grain. We're going to cut it fairly thin.
Oh, that looks great.
Is it still pink?
Not yet. Oh, there's a little
there we
pink.
go.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Like I said, it really was firing up while we were over there answering questions and mixing
You're on
drinks and
camera number
stuff.
2 here, Chris.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay.
right.
So, anyway, usually it comes out a little more pink when I'm able to tend to it a little bit more. But this will be fantastic because it's got that great crust on the outside. It's kind of a bark. The barbecuers call that sort of a bark. And so we take we take one of these Hawaiian rolls. This is King's Hawaiian, which everybody loves, right? They're a little bit sweet. And we throw on this, and you can't really,
You make 2 so we can sit down and.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make 2 here, and then we'll do a tri-tip toast. Thick.
I've got 2 hands on the camera, or else I'd reach in.
No,
and
don't
help
worry
you.
about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get that. Get that. This is my first cooking show too, Jim. Can you tell?
Well, I've done some food shows.
We're
When I
gonna
was over at Fox, but I've never been the camera operator as well.
quickly slice up a little pepper here to put on it. Okay, and then we're going to splash it with a little horseradish sauce, just a little bit, just a little kick, because it's full of flavor. It doesn't need much. Okay, and then we'll come back to our.
All right, I'm gonna let Ryan take the main camera while I try to put this back where it belongs. Okay.
And there we go. Actually, we didn't even cook this. We just put it on before we started, and it kind of cooked itself, which I kind of liked it. There you go,
Sierra,
sir.
are you giving me time cues? Oh my gosh! All right. Well, we want to before we thank you. Want to try it?
Huh? Let's do a
try?
cheers. Let's do a tri-tip cheers.
No, I don't think
Cheers.
so.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Pretty good, huh?
That is amazing.
It's really good. Now we can't talk.
I know the problem. They tell you never eat on television because you can't talk. We do actually want to talk about the UCLA football schedule. It's right there in front of you. So you can begin to plan your at-home tailgate when UCLA takes the field.
Yes, it starts in November. It's a pretty quick season. It starts in early November and then goes to the Pac-12 playoffs at the end of December, right before Christmas. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be great. I mean, I was worried. I think a lot of us were worried at one point that Pac-12 wouldn't get on board with this stuff.
I know.
I think the Big Ten sort of going ahead with it gave them a little more courage. And so, anyway, I'm really glad about that, and it'll be great to see the guys out there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, everyone, just to recap, we thank you for joining Rose Bowl Live, joining Chris Erskine, Jeff Michael, myself. Remember all of our tips. Try to plan your home tailgate party. Get in the spirit. Enjoy yourself. Do you have someone in the face?
No, it's all good.
And have a good time. And above all, stay safe. Take COVID-19 seriously, no matter what disinformation you're hearing. Keep your neighbors safe. Safe distancing.
Right.
Wear a mask unless you're eating and drinking, and cheer on UCLA.
Go Bruins! Go Bruins! Have a great season, everybody.
And we'll continue our tri-tip from the backyard of Chris Erskine. Have a good evening, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Venue, in my opinion, in all of sports.
The setting is about as good as anywhere in the country with the San Gabriel Mountains in the backdrop. It's always picturesque.